Hey guys, Clint Darden here with ClintDarden.com, and of course the House of Biceps. I'm covering a deadlift video today. Obviously, it's the greatest exercise known to man. A good friend of mine from England came and trained with me last year, Matt, and he was here on his honeymoon, actually. And he came back again this year and trained with us a couple times while he was just on vacation. So I posted some videos up of him training a couple of weeks ago going through the deadlift, and only got a lot of comments and stuff like that. And he got a lot of comments from me too as well while he was training. So he came back and trained with us again and made some corrections. I just want to walk you guys through a couple of things that I took him through to help him improve his deadlift quite a bit. Here we see Matt. He's got about 500 pounds on the bar. His best 1-rep max is lower to mid sixes. We can see him set up that, the higher hip setup is not a problem. A lot of big deadlifters, including myself, have a high hip setup. He's getting his shins more vertical. The big issue that we see here, and you see it in slow motion, is his back has no arch whatsoever. And he actually goes from rounded to straight. So one of the big things that I wanted to work on him with is just trying to find his position. And you can see that he's doing most of the lift with his lower back, and obviously has a very strong lower back just to be able to do that with. This is 250. It's 550 pounds. And he's continuing to do the same thing. The hip position's not bad. His upper body, shoulders are still a little too far in front of the bar. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is, his back is starting in one position and it's finishing in the other. And a lot of coaches are just going to come out and say, hey, it's a bad thing. You've got to arch your back, from the start of the lift. And that, that's great, but that doesn't tell you exactly how to do it. And I think that's what separates just an average guy in the gym talking and someone who's a good coach. So here we see him, he's going for 280 kilos here, and this would have been a PR if he made this lift. You can see his setup again. His back, is still rounded. So, the issue that we're dealing with is how do we teach someone like this to get in their position? Because everyone's going to have their own individual position, their own individual best position on how they're going to deadlift and get their back into a good position. So really the only thing that I ask of anybody when they're deadlifting is that their back doesn't move. If you start the lift like that, you pretty much need to finish the lift like that. I would like for it to be a little more straight than what he's got going on here, but the main thing is just to keep your back the same. Don't let it move. And here we go. We're working on some technique, and you see he's going to make some pauses there. This is somewhat like a Dimmel deadlift, and what I wanted him to do was to find his position on the way down. I wanted him to find that position on the way down and learn it, because that's the position that I want you to hit on the way up. And he never quite got it, but you can see he is, making an attempt to stop. He does need stronger lower back, stronger hamstring, stronger abs, but I don't care for deadlifting 1,000 pounds. Those are going to be one of your main forces that you attack anyway when you're trying to increase your deadlift. So we see him doing the same thing kind of over and over. And he's still got his shoulders way out in front of the bar on every set that he does. I'm hoping you're seeing this just as I am, but his shoulders are way over the bar the entire lift, and it's really, really heavy to hold that weight, way out there in front.
Nice, that was fast.
And here he is doing his actual work set. Really not for sure of the weight on the bar, but we're talking upper 400 pounds, 500 pounds, something of that nature. This is really not a great thing to do if you have bad technique, because the more reps you do, you're basically teaching yourself via the repetition method to do something incorrectly. You can see he's having difficulties when it gets around the knee level. He's having difficulties locking it out. He's having a hard time pushing his hips through right there. He's hitching. He's having a problem, getting his abs in, his belly in. And getting everything to lock at the same time. And all that comes from a bad starting to mid position. This is where we begin the technical work of what we did for that day. So I'm going to turn it back over to the regular audio so you can have a good idea of what I was saying during here. And we'll see if what he does, and see if he can put it into practice.
Find your spot. All I want you to do is take it down to your knees, stop, hold, and come back up. Here. You are way forward. You've got to be back. But if you get to your knees and you are leaning forward like you are, way like this, you're not going to connect up with it. No. But you can find the position if you start from the top. And all I did was sit back, like this, to get to that spot just. You're right. Yeah, it's going to scratch right there, just below my kneecap.
This frame clip shows exactly where most people are when the bar is at their knees or just below their knees in a very critical position. You see the shoulders are way out in front of the bar. This is the position that you want to be in. At this position, all you have to do is use your legs to stand up, push the hips through, screw the bar, whatever you want to say. Push. That bar weighs a lot when it's in this position right here. And the bar weighs very, very little right here. That's where the hips, hamstrings, and back come into play, is when you're leaned back. You cannot be leaned forward. You've got to be leaned back. Guys, basically, this is what I call a double deadlift. I know it's not what you'll find if you search on the YouTubes, but I have a client deadlift the bar up from the start position, a comfortable position, a good reference point. That's all I want them to do is find reference points. So you pick it up and get into a good start position, and I just want you to lower the bar down to just below the knee. It can't be above the knee. It can't be mid-shin. It has to be just below the knee. And as you can see, all I have to do to get there is to arch, keep my back anyway in the same position, and sit down. It's with my legs. At no point am I ever bent over. I know you're not going to find yourself easily getting into this position if you are pulling it from the floor. But again, we're setting reference points here, just things to come back to, places for your body to train itself to get into position for. So, all we're looking for is reference points. So pick it up. Get down to that rough, dirty spot just below the knees and make sure, use that, hold it there for a good 2 to 3 seconds and use that as a checklist to make sure that you're not leaned too far forward, to make sure you are leaned back, to make sure your abs are, you see my abs are stuck out here, by making my waist as big as possible. And then, once you do this, the important part of this lift is making sure that you are able to create torque from the knees. So pop that bar up from the knees with some attitude.
Now sit back, stop below the knees. Good position. Good position. Now explode from the knees. Pause and then explode. Pause, sit back. That's it. That's it. Perfect spot. Sit back. That's a perfect deadlift.
Keep through.
Sit back, pop. Nice. Sit back, back. Sit. Actually, you're tired. That's it. That's perfect. That's it. Nice, Matt. Come on. Nice. Nice work. Nice.
So you may look at this and say, hey, what's the big deal? I mean, we're seeing it here in slow motion. He's setting down. This was his last set of the dumbbell deadlifts that he did for the day. You see him getting into a much better position, a much improved position. You can watch as he is sitting down, he's sitting back, but it's almost like there is a chair or wall or something there. He's more upright, more at a 45-degree angle. We're not for sure if he can do this from the floor yet, but that's not important at this stage. When it comes to a set that he absolutely has to have, he's going to do it the way that that he moves big weights the best. But this is a great learning tool. It's a great reference learning tool. It's a starting point for him. Someone who's been deadlifting incorrectly for years. It's a good starting point for him to figure out how to deadlift and to figure out the weaknesses and the technical areas that he's got going on right now. So no big deal, right? I mean, there's no big difference in what he's doing before and what he's doing now. Well, let's just take a quick look at what he was doing a few minutes before this. This was his position. These still frames really say it all right here. You can see him looking, shoulders behind the bar. He's got a nice arch. It's a good position. Let's look at what it was before. Same bar position, but look at the body. Hips high, shoulders forward, heads out in front. And you'll say, hey, I don't deadlift like that. I deadlift properly. I know it feels good. I'm a big deadlifter. What I can encourage you to do, get some video, watch yourself in slow motion. A lot of people deadlift just like this, and they have no idea that their deadlift is just like this. And you know, I've made the same mistake before. I've missed weights before. And that's when it's time to go back to the technical drawing board, get back to work and making sure you're doing the right things with purpose, and you don't end up deadlifting like this. So guys, if you're having issues with the deadlift, you're not getting the right positions, you're not locking out weight, you're missing somewhere around the knee, you're missing anywhere, video yourself and make sure that you are in the right positions and find technical ways that you can train it technically to get better at the deadlift. The deadlift, you know, it's not just a brute strength lift. It is a very technical lift, even though some people might think that it's not. So the demo deadlift, the way I've described it here and the way I've shown it here, I think is a very, very effective way to teach the deadlift. It's an effective way to get better at the deadlift and to make sure that you're doing it properly. You're not going to get hurt and you are going to lift big weights.